Well. You're listening to Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright then, I may say words on point, straightforward. No jibber jabber, everybody forward. Issues, facts and solution. Get it at Gloves Off with Professor Buitrón. Alright, what other thing is a revolution? Get it on point with Professor Buitrón. Gloves Off, no nonsense issues, politics, community. A better men follow reader. Gloves Off, a revolutionary show with everything that you need to know. With Professor Buitrón. Watch ya!
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Hello, how are you? My name is Celestino Marina. I'm running for City Council, District 5, and I would like your support. Together, we will win. Thank you.
Laredo College needs a leader, an educator with a vision to move forward for a positive change. This is why, as your candidate, I want accessible education, and most importantly, I want to listen to your concerns as a stakeholder, students, faculty, staff, and taxpayers. It's time for education over politics.
Vote Justin Huntsnusher Casiano for Laredo College Board, place 7.
Hi Laredo, this is Carlos Perez. I'm running for Laredo College Board of Trustees Place 8. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at CG Perez for LC. I look forward to gaining your support this campaign season and earning your vote November 3rd. Thank you.
Five, four. We're back at you in Gloves Off. Today I have a great guest, Guro Tim. How are you, Tim? You doing good?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Doing great. You know, a lot of folks don't know that Guro Tim has been a great component of JKD Jeet Kune Do, Ask of Combatives in Texas for a very long time. He's one that I consider other. And we always talk about the differences of martial arts and how to promote schools and how to deal with students. We're always talking back and forth and understanding the differences because, number one, most martial art instructors get thrown into opening up a school and they don't know how to run the business aspect of it or how to actually deal with it. But a lot of us have been teaching for a very long time, and I've known for very, very long. Well, brother, let's touch base on the modern martial artist, the student that comes to your school, and what most of us deal with.
Okay. That's a fun topic. You know, I've told some of my students, I have some students that are diehard. They're there every time the school is open. Most of the students are a lot of complainers, you know, like they if it's raining too hard, they don't want to come to class. Something comes up, they don't want to pay tuition at the first of the month. But it's not like it was when you and I were coming up through the arts, and we didn't have the internet. We couldn't sit home or sit on our smartphone because we didn't even have cell phones back then, which is crazy. But we couldn't look up videos. If you wanted to train with somebody, you saw them in a magazine, you contacted them, you brought them in for seminars, or you traveled halfway across the country to train with them. You know, I can tell you how many thousands of miles I've driven and flown to train with Larry or Guru Dan or Master Chai or, you know, Eric Pauls, anybody. And it's just different. You don't see that same commitment from the students nowadays. They want everything, and then they jump from school to school. Whatever the latest craze is, that's where they go.
You're absolutely correct. You know, back then we would drive miles to go train with somebody. I remember training back with my chief of Keith Sear, which we did in Irving. There was a Japanese sensei of Shorin Jimbo. He says, he's only going to be here for 6 months. He's an excellent man. Go there and train with him. So every Saturday at 6 o'clock, I would drive all the way towards Fort Worth to train with this individual, just to learn the aspect of what Shorinji Kempo was. He had studied with the founder, and it was an executive Japanese executive working for a company in Fort Worth. And people did that. We did that. We would give our element to go train over, especially if our teacher would say that, or to go see our teacher as well. In today's world, you know, you have folks that drive 2-3 hours to come with me. And then you have folks that live down the street in the same neighborhood that have more excuses than, you know, folks at Dunkin' Donuts, you know, and it's hard to fathom because we did not grow up this way, you know that?
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to kind of kick somebody back to line who they themselves don't actually want to be training, understand? And you've seen that. And more so now, the excuses come, especially with this COVID that's been going on. How have you seen it?
It's like you said, it's just another excuse that they can use. They're scared. You know, I work, my daytime job is working at Baylor University, and I was telling you earlier that you walk outside and everybody's walking around wearing a mask, and it's like there's nobody around. But that's how it is at the, you know, most of the gyms and stuff. You're limited. I see everybody, a lot more schools doing Zoom video training, online training, where people are in their living room and stuff. It's crazy. I think they should just lift all the restrictions and let everybody get back to training. But it is what it is. I don't know how it's going to pan out, if it ever get back like it was.
You know, and you look at the side of the business aspect of it. A lot of martial artists there, and first of all, us that have lost schools already, they're not going to open up again. Yeah. They won't opening up again. School in Houston, a great individual and friend of ours, closed his doors. He's around for 25 years. He's no longer be open. Yeah. His son did the same. His student of his that had a huge Taekwondo boxing school in Houston also folded over because of the lockdowns he had. These are schools that have been, essence, part of the community that are no longer going to be. And people say, well, it's just a martial arts school. It's just a dance studio. It's just a cheerleading studio or a gymnastics studio. Yeah, these studios, regardless of the combative aspect of their teaching, they're allowing kids to gain self-esteem, gain self-confidence, learn how to control themselves, become better citizens in society, as per se. Yeah. So they were really out there, you know, turn out to the ninjas and the samurais and whatnot. They were returning good students. So, and that's what we're losing now. Do you believe that more schools are going to end up folding over because of this?
I think so. I mean, I think you're going to see. I mean, because they're still having to pay rent on the buildings that they're leasing, and it's a lot of money to run a school and keep it open. As far as your monthly utilities, the rent, lease, advertising, marketing, student retention, it's expensive. And when you can't have your full class going on, you still, your bills don't stop coming in. I don't see how more schools aren't going to close their doors for good. But it's like you said, though, most people look at, oh, it's just a martial arts school. But you take kids who you train in martial, even adults. I've had adults, tell me that if it wasn't for their martial arts training, not the techniques, but the discipline that they learned, the self-discipline that they learned, and learn to be patient. Because I'd tell people, I'd have students that would get frustrated because they're not getting something. It's like, it just takes time, and then we'd get it. Then you see that light bulb go off when they understand what you're telling them. And I've had people tell me that it's because of the discipline that I learned in martial arts that I was able to deal with this situation in life. Not even a combat situation, just not giving up, just persevering to see it through, achieving certain goals. And people overlook that aspect of martial arts training. It's the dedication, the commitment, the perseverance, the discipline that all goes along with learning a combat sport. You push yourself beyond limits that you didn't think you had physically or mentally, and it carries over to life. So, I mean, I think you're going to see more schools close, and I think it's bad for the community when that happens.
No, you're right. You're going to start seeing a lot more, and I'm seeing now, I get a lot more calls now for kids being afraid.
Yeah.
Before it was bullying. Now I'm getting kids being afraid. And I'm like, afraid of what? What are you afraid of? And just literally afraid of walking outside, being traumatized for this. We've had moms tell me it's longer, in the last months, it's no longer, I want my son to learn Salvador or Capella because they're being at school. Yeah. I don't want my son because he needs discipline. Now I want him to learn because he's afraid. Afraid of what? Now kids, many adults, they're dealing with a situation that they do not know which way the country is going to go, both whichever aspect of politics, and they just don't know what the consequences are. They don't know if their business are going to go down. They're just literally afraid. I think we need right now focus on that. And schools and programs like this, like you said, they teach individuals self-confidence, esteem, and we remove that from the equation. When we remove sports from the equation, which also said we're going to be in a very bad situation within the community if people are not understanding. Yeah. I mean, right now, football is not played, especially in Texas, or baseball or basketball. So kids that are being team players are also suffering, and here in Laredo, the department of local college closed. We're not going to have athletics. So what happened to young athlete that was expecting to go to college to, make the team because he has scholarship, all of a sudden nowhere to go. So we better look at the community, what we really want in the near future. We're going to have pretty bad effects. What do you think about it?
No, I agree. And, we're going to, on a college campus, we talk about that. Well, how are these guys that were, high school superstars, how are they going to be recruited when they can't play football or basketball or baseball? How are they going to be recruited? Because for a lot of those guys, that's a life-changing, that's the only way they can get out of the poor household they have or the bad neighborhood is by getting the scholarship through athletics to go to college and better themselves. I mean, we've talked about that as far as a recruiting class. How are they going to recruit? What's going to happen to this, the kids that just graduated or the ones coming up this year where they still can't play because there's no end in sight as far as when this is going to end. I know in the city of Fort Worth, that judge just extended the mandatory mask wearing until November 30th. And it's, you know, and then you have Governor Abbott doing all the goofy stuff he's doing that doesn't make any sense because it's not based on medical science or I think it's just bad for the community all the way around.
You know, we're having the same thing here in Middle. Tonight we have a city council meeting, and they also extended. So, you know, I've seen the effects that it's had on local kids. You know, we had those video that you had 3 police officers and 2 inspectors go just show up and they give the owner a citation. Oh, you guys are social distancing, and the owner basically said, "From where?
Yeah,
You've never come here." Oh, we took pictures. You came in here with a written citation. You didn't come here and look and give me a warning or tell this is wrong.
Yeah.
Nobody's doing anything right. You know, so you start seeing the type of destruction of small businesses, the boom mentality. You know, we recognize bullying. We've been dealing with bullies all our life, you know, and know how to deal with it. We teach other people to do. But now we're seeing the bullying mentality pass over towards small businesses. It's a pretty ugly, how can I say, realm that we're stepping on. And like I said again, I don't care whether you're from right or from the left, this is some pretty ugly stuff that's coming the road if we can continue. And it's just a shame that many of us just sitting back and just watching it, we understand it's happening. But when is the majority going to say, you know what, enough's enough? Hopefully it's in November when voting takes place.
Yeah, I hope so. That's what I'm hoping.
But, but it's sad. Let's touch base on one thing. Discipline. You've had to compete, correct?
Yeah. So you want to...
Out of how many students that join your school, how many would you say actually compete?
Actually competed? It's a low percentage. Usually what happens, I would have guys come to my class, hey, I want to spar. You got to be a student, you know, you got to sign up and be a member. But I would have a lot of guys that would come in there, hey, I want to fight. I've been in a lot of street fights. I want to learn to fight. I want to get in the ring. Then you sign, you know, you kind of humor them and kind of go along. You put them in there and you do the training. Because my thing was always, hey, I'll train you to fight, but you got to train with me for at least a year before I'll let you get in the ring and carry my banner. And within that year, they usually drop out because they can't handle the training. That, you know, I tell people all the time, man, fighting's easy. The training is what's hard, you know, and it was a low percentage. I mean, I would always have a handful of guys that would compete, you know, but it is a low percentage. If I had 20 students, I would have maybe 4 of them that would compete. You know, everybody wanted to do the grappling tournaments, but very, very few wanted to get in and actually bang where you could do the MMA or the kickboxing or boxing stuff is a low percentage. And a lot of them, once they got in there and started training, some of them is just the opposite. Some of them loved the training, and the training and the sparring we did actually fed the competitive desires that they had, but they didn't want to compete. They were happy just coming up and sparring, but it was a low percentage.
Right. And that happens, you know, mostly sometimes some schools will have 1 or 2 fighters and they'll have a bunch of others that are helping that 1 or 2 fighters basically be the fighter while the rest doing it. But what I've run into in the past is, I tell you a story. When I came here in Laredo, we were very highly, even in Dallas, very high boxing club, well as my club. But in boxing, I remember here, I said, we're going to do the gold belts. We're going to start now with September. And I remember I had up with 30 people every day for the golden gloves. As soon as February hit, it was 3 weeks towards the golden gloves. Those 36 became 10. The day we got off for the weights, it was 8.
Yeah.
You know, you didn't see the rest. And after the golden glove, all of a sudden you had 30 of those others came back to train going into the next fight, you know, and it was funny because everybody was fighting the ring, but as soon as the ring came up, it separated the men and the boys, you know, and that's one thing to give competition, actually ring competition, or any kind of competition, is that discipline that sets a goal, and you see the individuals a little bit better. You know what I mean? You see them hold the job longer. You see them have a discipline that they want me at 8 o'clock, so I'm going to be at 7:45. You know, you don't have that attitude now that, okay, you're starting work at 8, they show up at 9.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know, and I had the guys.
Here's a question. For martial arts out there that's very serious, and there's men out there that are. He says, you know what, I want to open a new business. I want to open a new martial art. What would you tell now?
Don't do it.
How to start, or if to start.
Yeah. You know, my first thing would be like, don't do it, because it's a lot harder than you think, and it'll take a toll on your relationships and everything else. And it's most people don't realize how much time it takes to run a school. You know, I know I was young when I first started. I do a couple of hours a night training. Well, because you're everything. You're the landlord, the business owner, the manager. I mean, I think my advice would be, go find a school and see if they'll let you teach a couple of classes there a week so you can learn how to teach.
Absolutely.
You know, just because somebody may be a great martial artist and could do every technique in the book and look flawless doesn't mean they're a good teacher. You know, and it's just like some people can fight, some can teach, very few can do both. Because you have to learn how to relate to every student. So I would have students that, you know, I'm like you, I give everybody a hard time. You remember cue ball? I had that student, you nicknamed him cue ball. And, you know, and I give my students nickname too. And I'm laughing thinking about that guy now. But I give my students a nickname, and I've had students come up and go, hey, Sifu, you know, I know you were just kidding, but man, I don't think that was nice of, you know, what you said, because I made a comment that, you know, it feels like I'm teaching Forrest Gump. You know, that's just me. I'm saying, you know, and they're like, you know, that's not nice. But then I had other students that would respond to that, and they would start laughing. I have some guys that they get out there, if they get tired, I'll start yelling at them, come on, and encourage. Man, they respond and just start going harder. I have other guys that if I raise my voice at them, they shut down. So I would say go and teach at another school if possible, just 1 or 2 classes a week. Learn how to teach to people, learn how to relate, and figure out how to, you know, see if you can understand what motivates certain people. Because everybody's got different personalities. Do that first. And once you do that, see if you like it. Because if you have a school to be successful, you're going to have to teach kids. And you need to make sure that either you can do that, or you have the right person in there who can relate and teach those kids at their level. And, you know, take some business classes or understand how business works. Set aside a marketing budget. Don't go in there and think, oh, I'm going to do about $10 a week on Facebook ads. It's not going to work.
No, you're absolutely correct. You know, I tell this to everybody. I don't care if you're teaching at a park, if you're teaching a garage, if you're teaching at a warehouse, if you're teaching at a school, or if you have your own school.
Yeah.
The instant you start teaching, you better start acting professional. And that's where it starts going in. There's a lot of traditions with traditions. So there's traditions within inside that are different in Muay Thai. There's traditions in Muay Thai that are different than boxing. And it continues online. And sometimes those traditions, those things that are surrounded with arts, they exist. They're just part of that subculture, and it's been around for many long time. But you can adapt to the modern era. I like what you said about the nickname. You know, I'm the same. I can give every nickname I had. You know, we'll have a nickname named Popeye. You know, when I was little. You know, but the nickname in Savannah is. You know, you got a nickname when you got your first rank, and that's part of it. You know, people don't understand that. It's in capoeira, you see, boxers have names, especially the Western arts, the nickname. I remember long ago, you know, I gave a kid, you know, we gave him a nickname, and the father comes and he says, you know, I really don't like that name. And I go, well, what would like a nickname to be? Father says, I want him to be nicknamed the Red Dragon. And I'm like, okay. You know, so the next time he came in, I heard the dragon come over, and the father says, well, I didn't want to say his nick, but what his nick to be? That we want him to call him that name. But you know, if you have a nickname like that, you better be able to be part of what your nickname says. You know what I'm saying? So and we never give a nickname to make fun of somebody, but it's usually something that goes to along the character of the person or how he acts or behaves. You know, that's just the way things are. But you know, I mean, there's some nicknames out there that people know people because of the name, not because of the name of the person. You know, and the martial it sticks with them throughout their life. So we have to be very careful with subculture that are in. Some people don't understand that, and especially bringing in that to kids, to young parents, young adults, because in their eyes, sumo wrestling and Greco-Roman wrestling and capoeira and boxing, it's the same thing. It's martial arts, you know? and everything's boiled to one. Mike doing martial arts, but there is traditions in one of them that there's in there, you know, and some of these things go in rule and regulations if they're associated with the association federations, you know, so we have to be very careful. But it's neat. It is part of, and I do agree. A person that's starting off now in martial arts, I would go teach somewhere else. Go learn how to teach at a school, or ask under school, do you mind renting out Saturdays? Yeah. From this time to this time.
Yeah.
You know, let them fit in their schedule. Yeah. And maybe you start learning and going and so on and so forth. You know?
Yeah. And I'd also encourage whoever it is wanting to open a school or teach to make sure you have humility and be humble. You know, don't, because I know I've seen a lot of people that, well, you know, I mean, there's guys that I know that have their schools, and they have good schools. They never spar, they never compete, and we would invite them over to come do competition or you know, spar and stuff. They're like, no, what we do is too deadly. And you know, that to me, that's just the instructor having too much pride and ego. He doesn't want anything, you know, he doesn't want to take a chance on him or his students losing, quote unquote, losing because of how it's going to make him look. And man, I tell people all the time, hey, I'll tap to a white belt. I don't care, you know, because you can learn from everybody. It's just to be humble and have humility, and don't think that just because you're instructor.
You know, you're absolutely correct. And the ego have to stop, and especially it depends, you know, that competition. If your competitions get more physical.
Yeah.
I'm going to compare this. Let's say judo to MMA, or point karate to Muay Thai or SAT or boxing.
Yeah.
There's differences. You can be a great competitor in the sport that you're in and understand the sport that you're in. But when you're talking about ring sports and you go inside the ring where someone's going to take your head off and you can take that person's head off, as your corner, okay, coach, professor, whatever name you want to give, as your corner, I myself have to leave that ego away. Yeah. You know, and I've seen this so many coaches at boxing, they're boxing getting pummeled in the ring, and they will never throw towel.
Yeah.
You know, I say this: when in doubt, you stop the bout. Period. You throw the towel. I've had parents yell at me because I stopped the fight. I threw in the towel. Yeah. And all this other stuff. And so, wait a minute. if there's no goals there. He already learned a lesson. Hopefully the lesson, and if he loves it, hopefully the lesson is, you know what, I have to train.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And that's what needs to happen. I think, I don't know, maybe we should do a video conference or something with a lot of martial artists out there for the competitiveness of it, to understand what the ring is. Because a lot of people do not know what the ring is. They've fought, but they've never, that ring set is no longer passed down. And I think nowadays we need that.
Yeah. Well, you know, like you're talking about.
People care. There's instructors that care for it, and there's instructors that really don't care. They're going to throw you in there for you to get pummeled. They don't care. You got what's out of it anyway.
Well, see, and that's the pride. That's where the pride comes in. Is the corner guy, the cornerman, the coach, whatever. He's too proud to throw the towel in. Because he doesn't want the loss on his record. When it's not you, you're not in the ring fighting. Like I've told people all the time that cornering my fighters when they step in the cage or in the ring, that's harder for me than when I stepped in the ring, because I can't do anything else now. All I can do is yell at them and hope that they paid attention and that, you know, that I did everything I could to get them ready. But you know, as far as humility goes, don't think because you're the instructor that you have to know everything. You know, you don't have to have all the answers. There's going to be things that your students will ask you that you're like, I've never thought of that. I don't know. You know, don't think you have to be the unbeatable, you know, coach out there. Just always be humble and open to learn. Like I always say, keep a white belt mentality. You're always learning. You're training with everyone and reading, and just continue to study.
Absolutely. You know, my brother, we're running out of time. What would you say that one for the students out there, folks that tune in and say, you know what, I want to take something to martial art. I want to take classes. What would you tell them to start looking first?
Like for their kid, like if they want to start martial arts first with their kid.
If they want to do martial arts for their kid, looking for a school, what would you tell them to look for?
You know, if it's a girl, if somebody comes to me and they have a daughter and they want to put their daughter in something, I always say to put them in judo or jiu-jitsu, something where they're going to learn to fight off their back. Because in the event that they get raped or attacked, most likely they're going to be on their back. So at least now they're learning a discipline that they're comfortable not comfortable, but they're used to being on the ground with somebody on top, so they can learn to defend that. If it's a guy, I always say boxing or wrestling. Learn to box. Boxing's, I mean, there's a reason it's called the sweet science. So for girls, I would say something where they learn to fight off their back. You know, guys, I always say boxing or wrestling. Both are good. You know, and that's because you can always train or have them change systems later, but just something that's going to bring out the best in them. That's not going to, you know, humiliate them or anything, but something where, for girls, definitely something where they can learn to fight off their back and get back to their feet and run or control the situation.
Absolutely. Some great counsels for people looking for martial arts. Who just when they call, people ask, "Well, I want to martial arts and know who I am." They're obviously tell them, go study the schools. Well, look at all the schools you can.
Yeah.
Look at all the schools and look and see how the school is behaving. Before the COVID, if I would tell you, you're going to stick your son in the school, in the martial arts, make sure they're parent there, and you're watching what's going on in class.
Yeah.
You're able to see. You know, if the school says parents stay outside, shut the door, that's a no, that's a red flag.
Yeah.
Wherever school should be as open as possible for everybody to see what's going on, period. Then I would look at the senior students, each and every school that I go to, how are the senior students behaving? Because remember, if you're putting your child in there, they're going to turn like the senior student. They're going to turn out like the instructor. They're going to turn out senior student.
Yeah.
And that's what I tell everybody. Look at the senior student at the moment, how are they behaving? You know, and then take from there. If the guy, senior student, can't throw a punch, throw a kick, like the year not throw a punch, you're not, okay? Because he's been so, and take for granted how long is the person around, and take it from that. You know, even though a lot of great martial artists from all over, and they teach all different sorts of elements, from parks to recreation centers to their garage to warehouse to go and look at the class. Period.
Well, and I always tell parents too, don't call the school and make an appointment to come up there. Just show up. You know, show up and see what the average class is like. And then, and I would tell parents when they would bring their kids to me, I would be honest with the parents up front and say, look, this is an interview process, but you're interviewing me to see if I'm the instructor that fits. You know, ask me any question you want. I'm an open book. I'll answer it. You're more than welcome to bring your kid up here a couple of days, let them watch. You let them join in and, you know, go from there. But I would even encourage them, hey, go do the same thing with other schools, but realize when you're talking to that instructor, that's you interviewing him. Don't let them control the conversation by, you know, don't let them control the conversation. You're interviewing them. Ask how long they've done it. What's their credentials? Are they a part of any association? You know, and then go and research those associations and see if they're in good standing with anyone.
Absolutely. And that's what you need to understand. That's what we need to understand, really, where it's coming from. Because a lot of times, some martial art will hear, and the person spends years training, transfers over here, and then they say, well, you know what? You trained over there, and we don't recognize that. So be careful with what you look for.
Yeah.
Be careful.
Yeah.
And my brother, stay safe. I know
Yes,
this
sir.
COVID nonsense is going over and driving everybody mad. Let's just keep it together.
All right.
And folks out there, if you're in Waco, look my brother Tim, and look for some JKD classes. You know, the best out there that I know. Brother, till next
All
time.
right. Peace, brother.
The following political paid advertisements do not reflect the political opinions of the program or its associates. Any political campaign or candidate who wishes to purchase advertising can do so. Advertising is open to all on behalf of Gloves Off.
Hello, how are you? My name is Celestino Marina. I'm running for City Council, District 5, and I would like your support. Together, we will win. Thank you.
Laredo College needs a leader, an educator with a vision to move forward for a positive change. This is why, as your candidate, I want accessible education, and most importantly, I want to listen to your concerns as a stakeholder, students, faculty, staff, and taxpayers. It's time for education over politics.
Vote Justin Hunts-Nusher Casiano for Laredo College Board, place 7.
Hi Laredo, this is Carlos Perez. I'm running for Laredo College Board of Trustees, place 8. You can follow us on social media on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at JKD Jeet. I look forward to gaining your support this campaign season and earning your vote November 3rd. Thank you.